Welcome to the beauty community. Just when you think you've seen everything, a new skincare brand just dropped, and it's not for you. No, nay, because these skincare products are for toddlers. That's right, just when you thought your 2 to 3 year olds' fine lines were getting a little bit more pronounced, or their skin is starting to lose its elasticity, you don't have to worry about that anymore, because there's a skincare brand designed just for them. Hello everyone, and welcome to Skincare with Hiram. Oh, has it been a mess over here on this TikTok app? I have not seen a skincare controversy blow up like this since Nara Smith's DIY sunscreen, which y'all should definitely go check out my video on that because I literally made it from scratch. Ugh, crazy times. Anyway, what the hell do toddlers and skincare have in common, and what is this controversy even about? We're about to get into it, baby, because the girlies are fighting, everyone's heated, celebrities are getting canceled, people are losing their minds, and I have some opinions about it. Hot takes, if you will, because this situation is really complex, and I feel like a lot of my opinions are gonna get people really heated. So without further ado, let's get into the controversy following Shay Mitchell's new skincare brand for toddlers, Rini. Chop chop. Okay, so like I said before, this new skincare brand was just launched by celebrity Shay Mitchell. And if you don't know who she is, there's a TV show called Pretty Little Liars, which is where celebrity Shay Mitchell got her start before appearing in shows like You and other shows that I don't remember. But recently she's really solidified her success with her brand Baze, which is like a tote luggage brand, which I actually have been a big fan of. I personally have like a weekender bag that I've used when I've traveled. I've gifted my friends weekender bags as well. But it appears she is expanding her entrepreneurialism into the children sector by launching a skincare brand for children called Rini.
Want to know what I think is a little bit weird? And please let me know if you think I'm reaching. Skincare for toddlers. We all know what makes the most money, right? Beauty, health and wellness, and then the baby market. So why not mush them all together and then add Korean skincare? That's what they're doing. And I get it, but it's a little bit weird still, right? Because these are littles.
Now, I have to say, initially when I heard about this brand, I really didn't know what the big fuss was and why people were getting so upset by it, because if you go to any drugstore or grocery store out there, you will find a plethora of skincare products that are targeted towards babies and young children. However, a lot of the products that exist for young children are more so aimed at resolving a health issue or preventing long-term damage. Things like creams that can get rid of baby eczema or toddler eczema, sunscreen to prevent skin damage, powders to prevent chafing. But more than anything, I think people are just really jarred by seeing 3-year-olds modeling skincare products in the same way that adults would, and learning about a brand that specifically caters to that young of a demographic. Let's look at the actual products, ingredient lists, and formulas. So as we can see, at least for now, the entire product range only revolves around face masks. It seems like there are sheet masks and hydrogel face masks, I believe. Now there's different types of bundles, but it looks like the hydrogel masks are $7 and the sheet masks are $6. Steep, if I do say so myself. That is really expensive. Anyway, let's look at the ingredient list. I want to start with the hydrogel. This one is the Hydrating Hydrogel Facial Mask with Vitamin B12. As we can see, the promo images are nuts.
A real me. Only an entity.
It says this is the first hydrogel face mask for kids, and it's a pink shimmery 2-piece jelly mask designed to fit growing faces. Now there's a lot of safety disclaimers like EU compliant, pH balanced, plastic free shimmer, which love the plastic free part, dermatologist tested, safe for sensitive skin, fragrance free, vegan. So I do appreciate the transparency. It's very much clear that they are kind of, como se dice, overcompensating for what inevitably would be the very critical parents or mothers who are considering buying this but skeptical about using skincare products on a toddler. And I mean, looking at the ingredient list, it's fine. Very simple ingredients, you know, glycerin, natural extracts, xanthan gum. It's a fine ingredient list. Is this anything that blows my mind or I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible? No. Am I also the demographic for this product? No. And honestly, I'm really struggling to determine what ingredients would work best on a toddler because toddlers don't need skincare ingredients like this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look at the sheet mask. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, there's a hydrogel face mask for after sun, which is interesting. And I could see, you know, some potential benefit with this. I mean, kids have the tendency to spend too much time outside. Well, Back in my day. I don't know how kids are now, and word on the street is that Gen Alpha really loves being on their phones and not outside, but I don't know. I see the utilitarian benefit of using an after sun face mask on a kid. Ooh, okay, and this ingredient list does look more interesting. There's definitely a lot more ingredients. I'd say the first like half of the ingredient list looks pretty much exactly the same as the other, but this one does have soothing plant and flower extracts, which are definitely great for, you know, reducing irritation and redness from sun exposure. Granted, all those soothing ingredients are located at the very bottom of the ingredient list, which means that they are all in concentrations of less than 1%, which is particularly, I don't know, a little confusing considering that aloe leaf extract is located below the 1% line, when in reality, I feel like if you are going to be using an after sun product, it should contain a lot more than 1% of aloe. I personally have loved to use formulas that are like 80% aloe after the sun, but that's just me. However, between the two, you're definitely getting more bang for your buck with this one because it does contain a plethora of more beneficial ingredients than the other face mask does. But let's look at the sheet masks. So as we can see, each of the sheet masks is labeled by what animal they are versus skin benefits or what type of ingredients of formulas actually have, which I think is cute. I mean, when I heard about this brand, I was thinking, you know, like luxury creams and luxury serums for kids, but once I actually saw like the animal sheet masks, I was like, okay, you know what, I can kind of see how a toddler would be interested in using a product like this, especially if they're seeing mommy or daddy, or mommy and mommy, or daddy and daddy. Sorry, I had a Rihanna moment there, excuse me.
And he designed some boxer briefs that both men and women and non-binary people of all gender appropriations and the pronouns.
You know, if they're wanting to join in on the skincare fun, but have it look fun too, I definitely think it's, you know, a cute concept, and I can see how a toddler would actually be interested in this, and that being a better fit for the demographic versus the hydrating hydrogel face mask, for example. Looking at these ingredient lists though, same thing. Very simple, good ingredient lists. I actually feel like this has low-key a better ingredient list than the hydrating hydrogel, because this has ingredients like glycerin, betaine, allantoin, arginine, tremella mushroom extract, beta-glucan. A lot of those are really good ingredients that are found in Korean skincare, and they're ingredients that I always look for in skincare products. And you know what, looking at these products, part of me says, holy shit, these are way too expensive for the type of ingredients that they have. These are super simple formulas, but they're charging like $7 for a mask. What? But the other half of me says, well, because it's toddlers, they really should not be exposing their skin to a lot of ingredients, because there's just no need for them to be using formulas that have a plethora of ingredients, which begs the question, why are toddlers even needing to use skincare ingredients like this at all? What is the point?
It's really not my personality to be a hater, but this new skincare brand that is meant for children really makes me mad as a dermatologist. One, kids don't need skincare. Like, maybe lotion if they have eczema, otherwise they don't need it, a cleanser in the bath, and some sun protection. That is it. The thought of a kid wearing a freaking face mask makes me so frustrated, because as a parent of a almost 4-year-old, I just think about, what do I want my kid focusing on at this stage in their life, at this stage in their cognitive development, developing their social skills? For not 1 second do I really want them thinking about the quality of their skin or even taking care of their skin. They have the rest of their lives to be thinking about that, to be hung up over that. Let's not start the hang-ups early. To me, this is just absolutely predatory.
Which invites my first critique to the chat. Toddlers don't need skincare. Why are we creating a skincare brand with products designed for toddlers and really, really young kids when they just fundamentally don't need it? Now, I of course want to make the exception for brands that have baby-focused products that alleviate some type of health concern. For example, Aveeno has an entire range dedicated to babies to help alleviate eczema or rashes. The same thing with Honest Beauty by Jessica Alba, all of the baby products from her line. And there are a ton of sunscreens out there for babies. Every kid needs to be wearing sunscreen, and there should be baby-safe products out there that aim to get rid of common concerns amongst babies and toddlers like rashes or eczema. However, besides that, babies don't really need skincare. They don't have issues with their skin cell turnover cycle or things like acne scars, dark spots. All of these common skin issues that a lot of us turn to skincare as solutions for or they just don't need, which makes their reason for using skincare products in the first place totally optional. And I don't want to be harsh, but renders these products completely pointless. Which brings up another frustration of mine. You are introducing them to the most pointless skincare product. The majority of sheet masks, gel masks, or just face masks in general don't really do much for the skin and don't provide long-term benefits. Now, a lot of people use the face mask for kind of the aesthetic experience of it, which I guess is fine. But truthfully, you're never going to see as good of results from using a single-use face mask as you would using like a daily serum or a daily moisturizer, etc., etc. So if the point of these products is to introduce kids to skincare, why are we introducing them to the most pointless and arbitrary type of product out there?
I'm just gonna say it. I do not see an issue with Shay Mitchell's new skincare line for kids. What is the problem? How are we always finding an issue with something? Why are we always tearing things apart just to cause chaos for absolutely no reason? It is a freaking face mask, for God's sake. We are acting as if there is retinol in the face mask. There's not. We are acting as if there is salicylic acid in the face mask. There's not. It is aloe vera and other simple ingredients. What is the problem? I would have loved this growing up, if I'm being honest. I feel like I always loved doing little girly things growing up. I loved copying my mom. I loved watching her do her makeup. I loved watching her do her skincare. She would give me her makeup brushes so I could pretend to do my own makeup. There was really nothing at the time that existed for little girls to do their own makeup. And if I have a little girl anytime soon, to be honest, I probably would purchase products from this brand because I do love skincare, clearly. I do face masks at least once or twice a week. So I just would love to sit on the couch having little girls' night with my little girl while I have a sheet mask on that's good for my skin and then a sheet mask for my little daughter. What is so bad about that?
I have seen on TikTok a lot of people saying, what's the big deal? It's just a sheet mask. The kid doesn't know any better. They just want to put something fun on their face, just like what mommy or daddy or whoever is doing. Kids don't know what it is or what it does. It's just for fun. What's the harm? Then why can't it be a regular sheet mask just soaked in water? Why do we need to have skincare ingredients and skincare formulas be utilized on these sheet masks if the kids don't know any different? See, the thing is, when we're toddlers, our skin is pretty good at managing itself. Unless we're experiencing the aforementioned skin issues, it does a pretty good job at regulating itself, encouraging little skin cell turnover, and managing its own symptoms. When we're that young, our skin doesn't really need skincare ingredients to function okay. But by introducing a bunch of new ingredients to the skin that you've never used before, there is always a possible risk of skin sensitivity and irritation. Now, thankfully, the skincare ingredients in Rini's skin seem to be non-irritating and pretty safe. But everyone's skin is different. Everyone reacts to skincare ingredients differently, and there's always a potential risk of skin irritation and skin sensitivity. Now, if you are struggling with things like acne scars, breakouts, pimples, all the most common skin issues as a young adult or later, the trade-off's worth it. Yeah, there's a risk of skin sensitivity, but the benefits outweigh the risks. With a toddler, you can't say the same thing because there's really no benefits because their skin is already fine. And that is why there is an issue with the argument that this is just for fun and kids don't know any differently, because this brand is very clearly positioning itself as ingredient focused, ingredient conscious skincare for kids. So all that considered, if you take the active ingredients and the adult specific ingredients out of it, these sheet masks and these products aren't really different from anything that you would be able to find within the normal skincare world, which really reveals the core motivation of these products, which is probably no surprise to a lot of you. It definitely wasn't a surprise to me. These products aren't particularly unique. They're just marketed differently and expanding to a new demographic, which brings up yet more beef that I have with this brand. Are you guys keeping track of how many issues I have? Because there's a lot here. Within our normal capitalistic hellscape that is America, I would like to assume that products exist to solve a problem. A certain demographic has an issue, boom, companies exist to create products that address and solve those issues. And normally it's a symbiotic relationship. Well, I'm getting way scientific. But it's mutually beneficial, right? Because the demographic is asking for a solution to this problem and a company provides that. But with toddlers, you are dealing with the demographic that does not have an issue. Their skin is fine. They don't need skincare. And on top of that, even more problematic is that you're dealing with a demographic who isn't fully developed yet. They can't make educated purchasing decisions, and they can't control what type of messaging they are receiving from their parents or the world. And what Rini is doing, in a way that corporations always do so masterfully, is creating a problem that they provide a solution to. At this point, this is a normal thing that corporations do that we're all super used to. The reason why people are getting mad this time, however, is because this demographic has widely been considered to be untouchable, for good reason. Their parents are making these purchasing decisions for them. They're introducing these things to them at a very young age, which really makes me worry about what the future of these children will be once they get more and more into the skincare world. We already saw the negative impacts of the drunk elephant teenagers and super young tweens demanding that their parents buy them really expensive skincare products and getting really upset and throwing temper tantrums when their parents didn't buy these products for them, getting bullied at school because they don't have a skincare routine or because their skincare routine isn't bougie enough. I'm not saying that every kid that gets interested in skincare is going to end up doing these things, but it does make me worried about what type of messaging introducing skincare routines at such a young age actually delivers to toddlers.
Hate to say this, but I mean, this is giving celebrity corporate greediness. At a time when people can barely afford groceries, she comes out with a Toddlers skincare line. And according to the comment section underneath her newest post, a lot of people are not happy with this. Someone said, even if the intention is good, kids really don't need skincare. It's just another business move dressed up as something cute or innovative. Let them be kids, not mini consumers. We're living in capitalism's final boss level where a child's unblemished face is just another untapped market.
And then for my final critique, which I would consider to be the biggest issue, but no one seems to be talking about, I think because we're just so desensitized in this hyper-capitalist and hyper-consumerist society that we exist in. If you're new here to my channel, I have talked about for years the main reason why I don't like sheet masks to begin with. They are single-use waste. There are so many face masks out there that you can get in a jar where you'll get like 50 uses. Some of my favorite face masks, like the I'm From Honey face mask, I can use so many times and get way better bang for my buck, all without the single-use waste that is generated from, say, a comparable sheet mask. Now, thankfully, and one thing I really appreciate about Rini face masks as opposed to other sheet masks out there is that they are 100% cotton. And cotton is a much more sustainable ingredient versus plastic components that are typically used in sheet masks. However, it comes in a plastic container. Like the actual bag they use is plastic. It has plastic elements to it. And regardless, even if it's not plastic, it's still single-use waste. There's literally zero reason, especially in today's modern age with so many other options out there, to be using single-use sheet masks. And what's worse is that we're introducing this single-use waste to kids who are very, very young and impressionable. I mean, even with adults, sustainability is really hard to conceptualize. How the hell are we going to be able to teach kids the importance of saving the earth and sustainability and minimizing waste by introducing them to single-use sheet masks at literally 3 years old? I don't know. I would consider that to be the biggest issue, but I don't see anyone talking about it.
It's so very rare that I'm ever shocked or kind of disgusted by launches in skincare. This is a child in a face mask. You don't need to feed into even more consumerism than there already is on this earth. Kids do not need to be marketed to for beauty standards in any given way, regardless of whether or not they're asking you as the parent to do it. No, here is where I disagree with some of the critique, and honestly, I would say the majority of the critique that I'm seeing in regards to this brand launch. The common sentiment is that 3-year-olds are too young to be exposed to skincare because of the beauty standards that are attached to it, and by introducing 3-year-olds to skincare, we're thereby exposing them and indoctrinating them to toxic beauty standards at such a young age. That is the main argument I have seen in opposition to this brand. And I want to actually stand against that because that's not how I see skincare. Skincare should be about taking care of the health of your skin. The reason I love spreading the message of skincare and teaching people how to do it in the best way is because it is about health, about self-care, and about the meditative experience that skincare can be. That's why I love it, and that's why I love teaching people about it. Now, obviously, the health benefits of skincare do not exist in a bubble. There is a lot of beauty standards and, pressure deserve to adhere to beauty norms wrapped up in it. But at its core, I really do believe that that's what skincare should be about. And it is kind of ironic seeing people slam teaching kids about skincare at a young age as introducing them to toxic beauty standards, because I do think that it reveals how they actually perceive skincare to begin with. Because yes, if you view skincare as something that is purely aesthetic, purely about upholding beauty standards, then you totally have reason to be upset. But if skincare is about taking care of your skin health, practicing self-care, or having the meditative benefits, then there isn't as much reason to be upset. And personally, why I wasn't initially super upset and thinking about beauty standards or toxic messaging from that angle at such a young age, because I do appreciate education, and I think it is important to teach kids about the importance of like sunscreen, taking care of yourself, and meditation, and you can experience all those things within skincare. And to add on to that, I think the argument and reason for being upset is a little bit naive. Now, hear me out. Again, I don't want to bash people who are talking about beauty standards, because I do really think that it's important that we discuss how toxic beauty standards can be, the intense pressures that specifically women, but all people experience in today's modern age. I really think those are good conversations to have. But pretending like this is going to be the first exposure that 3-year-olds have to beauty standards is kind of naive. I would argue that things like social media, advertisements, or seeing a parental figure uphold these beauty standards themselves does far more damage than introducing a skincare routine to them at a young age. And of course, these things are not in competition with each other. They're all unique issues, and by no means do I believe that we should encourage 3-year-olds to learn about beauty standards and feel societal pressure to look beautiful. I'm against that. But this is what I've seen a lot of the conversation be about, when in my opinion, there are so many other bigger issues with this brand than thinking that this is going to be a toddler's gateway drug to beauty standards. We don't live in a vacuum, and there are far many more damaging things in our day-to-day environments that would communicate those beauty standards and toxic things to a toddler. And you know what? Above all, even in the midst of all of my criticism, I do appreciate efforts being made to teach young people about skincare. I think it's really important to start teaching kids at a very young age the importance of wearing sunscreen every single day, the importance of taking care of your skin in the long run, to make sure that you're feeling healthy and to get into a routine of practicing self-care. Do I like it in this form? No. That being said, I think this drama and controversy has really been interesting in the sense that it has really revealed people's individual relationships to skincare, how it reflects on our current beauty standards, and honestly, how much further we have to go in recognizing the value and importance of skin health separated from beauty standards and toxic societal pressures to be beautiful. Truthfully, I do look at this brand, like the face mask for example, and I'm like, that's really cute. And at its heart, I want it to be like a really simple, cutesy thing that kids can get involved in. But I do worry about the long-term repercussions as discussed in this video, and I think there is a problematic execution. However, I just have to be honest, when it comes to an experienced businesswoman like Shay Mitchell, who has built up Baze into a multi-million dollar company, who has been very successful throughout her life, and it's a co-founder situation with them pouring millions of dollars into this brand, I just have to believe that part of this was intentional as a marketing tactic, because we've seen the success of rage baiting as a marketing ploy and how it can really help companies to explode onto the scene. And honestly, it comes at no surprise at all.
We started looking at how can we make better products that actually parents could trust but kids want to try.
This is clever marketing. It's not targeting toddlers. It's for parents who want to say yes and feel like they're doing the right thing. Most people don't realize this, but skincare isn't always sold for what it does. It's sold for how it makes you feel.
Should be illegal.
And in this case, it's selling you peace of mind. It's telling parents that you're doing the right thing, even when all a toddler needs is a basic cleanser, maybe a moisturizer, and sun protection.
I think the overarching issues with this brand are first and foremost the single-use waste aspect of it and the pollution that's being created and taught to our kids at such a young age. And honestly, secondly, the stage of consumerism that we're in, where brands feel the need to create a demographic of consumers within 3-year-olds. I think this is a good opportunity for us to just step back and take a look at what our consumerism habits are and really identify what's actually going to add value to our lives versus just another expenditure. As for my advice, which, I don't have any kids, I don't want to speak like I have parenting experience, points, but I think it's always good to make sure that your kids are wearing sunscreen every single day. If they do have issues like eczema or rashes, use appropriate products from baby-focused brands to fix those issues. And as far as starting a skincare routine, just wait until their skin starts to exhibit issues. There's really no reason for a kid to be using an entire skincare routine unless they're getting to the age where they are experiencing, like breakouts, pimples, scarring, that type of stuff. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And really the only thing your kid needs to be using is a sunscreen. But what do you guys think? I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you agree with any of the points that I was talking about in this video, if you disagree, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be really heated at the fact that I'm not totally opposed to this, but I will say I do take issue with about 90% of what this brand represents, just not for the reasons people expect. If you're a parent, I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts and feedback on this. So please leave a comment down below. And if you guys like videos like this, I am more than happy to make this style of videos in the future. I love talking about this kind of stuff because homegirl could yap all day long. I mean, this video now has almost taken 8 hours to make, so yep, I did. And if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you can see my videos every single week. And I will see you guys in the next one.